Shelby, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Headline in the USA Today 2 days ago. Most Americans say it's a bad time to buy a house. This is the first time the figure dipped below 50% since 1978 when Gallup began conducting its annual poll. Are they right? More than half of Americans say it's a bad time to buy a house.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a bad time to buy a house, but it really depends what situation that you're currently in. If you have the luxury of waiting to kind of see how things pan out, there's an upside to that, and there might be a downside to that because interest rates are continuing to climb. So you might be able to save a little bit on maybe the market goes down 5% or softens up, or maybe it goes from being a seller market to a buyer's market, and now maybe you can negotiate a little bit because we haven't been able to negotiate for the last couple of years. So maybe you gain that, but then you lose because interest rates are going up so fast that maybe you might go from a 5% rate to a 6% rate.
And that, of course, raises your monthly payment, which is how the metric most people need to use of what can they afford every month.
That's exactly
in fact, the same article says that higher mortgage rates are adding hundreds of dollars to a household's monthly mortgage, and it forced some would-be home buyers to just give up or wait.
Yeah.
And that wait could be a while, couldn't it? Mm-hmm. What do you think of what is your view of the whole economic cinema right now with the Fed's raised interest rates a half point last week, and the indication is they're going to continue to raise them. We talked about this earlier in this week. We tried to do kind of a dummies version of why we have to do this to bring down inflation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have the reaction of like, so they're just going to make it a lot worse for everybody because that's going to bring stuff down eventually. And that is kind of the answer, right?
It really is. They're trying to slow down the economy. So in order to slow it down, they have to raise the interest rates, take the borrowing power away. And but as a result of that, so interest rates are moving up. Property values are probably going to stay stagnant. That's probably what we're going to end up seeing. We're not going to see it growing and going up anymore. It's probably going to stay stagnant. Real estate is seen as a very safe investment. So as you know, right now, Bitcoin actually just plummeting. I thought I was going to go to sleep and wake up and it would be free. It's crazy. I mean, it's going down so much. And the stock market is just getting plowed. So people are like, man, where do we even put our money? So real estate's still a safe investment. It's seen as a safe investment. Now, with interest rates, during a recessionary period, they actually go down. So what we are most likely going to see is rates are going to come up. And then we'll see a break in rates when we go into a recession. So I think that we're going to see some opportunities for people that just got into houses with higher rates. They'll have an opportunity here in the future to refinance.
So when you say that housing values, real estate values are going to go stagnant, and people start to panic, they're like, well, wait a minute, I need the value of my house to always go up, up. And we've talked about this before, that it's you've got to have a different mindset over the quote value of your home, right?
Correct.
And you say you think when we hit recession that interest rates will start to come back down?
Yeah.
Because so a recession is 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth. We've already had one.
Yeah.
If this quarter that we're in right now is negative growth, that would be as early as July or August at the latest, where we would be officially in a recession.
Yeah.
And you think that's possible?
Yeah. Yep.
How is that not timing the market? Because you always argue don't time the market. How are what we talking about here not timing the market?
Well, I mean, you could try to time it, but again, even if home prices become stagnant, but then your interest rate's going up, you're not winning, And you always want to base everything on the monthly payment because this is a long-term play. So, you can't time it.
By the way, to your point that you made there, since 2014, more Americans choose real estate as the best long-term investment than anything else, and it's not even close. 2-to-1 margin over stocks, 3-to-1 margin over gold, and 4-to-1 margin over savings.
I do like, though, how you said, that, maybe not right now, but then in a few months or whenever it might be, even if it was a year from now, they can refinance the loan they got. So it's like if they're sitting there going, well, I didn't want to pay this much a month, but I really, it's your home, right? It's a home, and they want to own a home and not rent. They can. It's like you're not going to be stuck at that forever. You possibly could be able to refinance later, type of thing. Yeah.
And that's why you really want somebody like me to really give you an honest opinion and analyze that, because again, I don't want people to stretch themselves. I want to be able to analyze their situation and give them my honest feedback and say, yes, you can afford this.
That's so awesome.
And this is every single thing that's going to come along with home ownership.
It's the opposite of a lot of people. They're just like, what do you got? Let me take it. I love that you don't want people to struggle like that. That's amazing.
That's why I think it's so great that we bring you on a regular basis, because people hear you're not always selling. You're not always hustling.
Yeah.
The first thing that I ask you is, tell people why it's a great time to buy a house. You're like, actually, it might not be. Wow, an honest guy. How about that? By the way, how honest are you? I got this email from Michelle. It says, I was also at Eric Church last night in the third row. I didn't see Shelby. Since he wasn't right down front, he must have been in one of the fancy suites.
We do have a suite, but last night I was in row DD.
So you should have been. You were behind
I was
her.
pretty close.
Yeah. You got to look harder, Michelle. All right, here's another chance, Shelby. Wall Street Journal yesterday says the mortgage refi boom is running out. They're down 25% from a year ago. First part is it so that we're done with refis now? No more refis ever?
Well, so we're not done with refis, but it has to make sense. So what I'm seeing a lot of people right now still cash out refis. A lot of their homes, a lot of their value is all tied up in their home. So going into a recession, people are saying, well, shoot, I want to have some money on the sidelines. And all their money is in their house. So we're seeing people refinance, pull some cash out, have money on the sidelines, pay off debt. I wouldn't recommend doing a cash out refinance unless you're paying off a pretty good amount of debt, because your interest rate is going up. You probably have a rate in the 2s. You don't want to go from a rate in the 2s all the way up to a rate in the 5s unless there's some value there. And that's for me to analyze and tell you, yes, this does make sense, or this is your best route. I can't tell you how many people that I send for home equity lines of credit to small credit unions, because for a home equity line, that's a great spot. So again, I'm going to give you my honest opinion, tell you what's the best thing for you. But people that want to pay off $50,000, $75,000 worth of debt, it usually makes sense for them to refinance, because we calculate their blended rate. So we take all their credit card rates, we take their old interest rate, their new interest rate, we blend it and see if it makes sense. Another good thing is people that want to pull cash out of their house and buy an investment property. I'm seeing people buy Airbnb properties and things like that. So that might be a good thing to focus on if you're looking to cash out. To
part of that story, we got this email. It's from a woman who wants her name withheld. She says, I felt it was really important to share my experience with United Wholesale Lending. Excuse me. That's the professional way to do that, by the way. Shelby, if you ever have a problem with your throat, you just turn your head. Don't turn your mic off. You turn your head. I submitted the online inquiry January 4th, and I received a message from Joe via text an hour later. As I sat on the side of the road in my car, as he explained to me how a cash-out refi worked and how I could benefit from it. 8 days then passed, and during that time, I was super skeptical. I mean, who hears this on the radio and actually gets money from their home? I spoke to an old friend who used to work in the mortgage business, and he advised me not to do it. After all, sounds too good to be true. So I let it go. Fast forward 2 months, March 15th. I kept hearing Shelby on the radio, the commercials on the app, hearing about cash refis everywhere. So I reached out to Joe again. I told him my concerns. I mean, growing up, no one ever taught me about how mortgages work other than you buy a house, you make payments, you pay it off. I mean, my house is going to give me money? How? So it's late evening, and Joe says it's okay to call him. Now, mind you, he's on vacation in New Orleans.
Wow.
He literally stayed on the phone with me for over an hour.
I love that.
He sent me the applications, and I submitted everything they asked for the next day. Then my own mortgage company calls and say, we were advised that you're shopping, and they promised to offer me a better rate. They sent me an email the next morning saying, sorry, can't do better. I proceed with Joe and United Wholesale.
Yay.
On April 13th, I was signing my closing documents. 3 days later, my bank emailed me that I'd received my wire transfer. It was all done in less than a month.
Oh, my gosh.
Today, I am debt-free.
Yay.
I was able to pay off all my credit cards, 2 collection accounts, and my auto loans, and still have money left to finish my kitchen upgrade.
Oh,
I am still in awe. I literally feel lighter. Thank you, Rob and Shelby, for bringing this opportunity. This isn't a radio gimmick. It's real.
Damn.
Wow, love it.
Isn't that a great story?
I do.
Beautiful.
Is that common, by the way? Do we want to actually advertise that your team will call while on vacation?
I mean, my guys are the best, and I love hearing that.
And I know you do the same thing. Mm-hmm. You were answering emails
Alaska.
in Alaska, yeah. and when we were golfing, I mean, it's just, hey man, I'm working. I got to do it. Hello there. Phone number is 888-989-9811 to talk to Shelby from financewithshelby.com. Jennifer, go ahead.
Hi, So I live in Reno, and obviously our houses are worth way more than they were last year. I was thinking about doing a refi to consolidate, say, $30,000 in credit debt. I have over probably $150,000 more than that of equity in the house right now. My interest rate is about 2.7 right now, though, so on my house, but obviously it's like 18, 20% on my credit card. Would now be a good time to refi before interest rates go up again, or should I hold off to pull that money out, have a nest egg, do some upgrades like roof, flooring, stuff like that?
So what you'd be looking to do, since your interest rate on the first is so good and you're not paying off that much debt, you would want to get what's called a home equity line of credit. And a home equity line of credit, you want to think of that like a credit card that's backed by your mortgage. So since it's backed by your mortgage and backed by the equity that you have, it's going to come with a much lower interest rate. So your rate on that is going to be about 7%, maybe even 7.5. But it's a revolving line. So if you pay off the $13,000 of credit card debt that has maybe a 25% interest rate, and now you have a 7% interest rate, then once you pay that off, you'll be debt free again. But taking a 7% rate on a HELOC is better than taking your entire mortgage of $150 or $200 or $300,000, whatever your mortgage is, and signing up for a 5.5% rate. So you get to keep your 2.75 interest rate on your main mortgage, and then you're going to take the second home equity line at a little bit higher rate, but it'll be a better rate than your credit cards.
By the way, if you're not watching us on RADTV, he does all of this with no notes and just off the top of his head and
that's
memorizing
crazy.
what people are saying.
So that's different than like, because I'll hear people talk about, so that was a line of credit. Then I'll hear people talk about when they've called before, when you're on a home, what's the home, not a loan, not a mortgage,
A
but
HELOC. But the acronym is HELOC, Home Equity Line of Credit.
and that's better than them getting a home loan from
A refi?
Yeah.
Not a refi, but what's the other one? I thought
Home
the-
equity loan, I mean, that's the same thing.
They're the same.
Yeah, it's the
They're
same
the
thing.
same.
Well,
Okay.
refinancing and then HELOCs.
Okay,
Correct.
but the line of credit is the same as the when people say they're getting a loan for their, but they're not refinancing. They mean a line of credit.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Same thing.
Different mechanism.
Okay,
Here's one I don't know if we've ever talked about. Katie wrote in just now, says, can you go over buying the interest rate down?
Yeah.
We are refinancing and we have the option to pay and lower the interest rate.
I love that. So this is something that we go over every single time because we want people to have the option to understand how the products work. So when other mortgage companies call you, this is a huge pet peeve of mine because they're so scammy. And the moment that we run your credit, they're going to call and they're going to go, oh my gosh, I'll give you this rate. I'll give you this rate. But they really aren't. What they're doing is they're not telling you how much it costs to buy down the rate. And this is how it works. So say interest rate right now is a 4.99, okay? That's the rate that there's no cost. You can still buy it down all the way into, maybe the threes, but there's a cost associated with that. So you're reinvesting your equity towards buying down the interest rate to get yourself a lower interest rate. So say it costs $10,000 to buy down your rate and it saves you $50 per month by buying it down. Then what you want to calculate is how many months is it going to take of the $50 per month savings to pay back the $10,000 fee. So there's a return on investment there, and that's what we calculate together, depending upon how long you're going to stay in the home.
We got this email from Jennifer. Says, we financed with Shelby last fall, had an amazing experience. We have a 3-bed, 1-bath house and are looking into remodeling the bathroom. We're considering replacing the bathtub with only a shower stall. Since we only have 1 bathroom, do you think not having a bathtub could be a drawback when we're ready to sell?
So I think that way back in the day, that was, a major concern because everyone's like, oh my gosh, I have to have a bathtub. You know what I mean? But times have changed. Even little kids, they take showers now. Back in the day, they didn't. They just always took a bath.
People are the size of Kyle now who can't fit in bathtubs.
I can't, and it
Right?
sucks.
Yeah.
It's always the big guys that are like, I don't even know what a bath feels like, man.
I would definitely be a customer looking for a shower. Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
and showers are set up in such a way where you can even sit down in them.
Sure.
If you want to get that bath experience of shaving your legs or whatever. Yeah.
I
You're
try
one
to
of those people. You lay down in the shower, huh?
dude. I try to take baths, but the person always comes home and is like, "Why are you in my house?"
Phone number is 888-989-9811. Hello there, Sarah.
Oh, good morning, Rad. How are you guys today?
Hey, what's up? Go ahead.
Oh, hi. Sorry. I'm a first-time caller, so forgive me.
It's all right.
Never used a
No
phone.
I just
worries.
wanted to thank Shelby for being on the radio and sharing his knowledge. We actually just refinanced through them, and we were able to do a cash out, and we're getting ready to remodel our kitchen and our bathroom thanks to their help.
Oh, that's exciting.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Those are your two favorite ones, kitchen and bathroom, if you're going to
Yeah.
do it. Is now a good time, a few people ask, with interest rates going up, is now a good time or a terrible time to consider an adjustable rate mortgage?
So adjustable rates are actually not as dangerous as you would think, right? Everyone associates the adjustable rate mortgage with like going negative on your equity. We had those types of loans back in the day. Those were terrible loans. Adjustable rate mortgages are not necessarily bad if you have enough equity in your home. So the reason why I would recommend an adjustable rate mortgage or an ARM, they come in a 5-year, a 7-year, and a 10-year. And it's going to reward you with a lower interest rate for that fixed amount of time. So you can get a lower interest rate than a 30-year fixed by taking a 7-year ARM, and it becomes adjustable after 7 years. So you think, well, shoot, what happens if I can't refinance when it becomes adjustable? The only reason you wouldn't be able to refinance is, for one, if maybe your credit score or something is destroyed at that time. So you'd have to fix it, and then it's going to become adjustable at that point. But you have 7 years to prepare for that. Or if the market goes down during that period. So if you have a lot of equity, say you put 20% down, at that point, you're kind of protected in a sense from that happening to you, because you should be able to refinance. So I do like them. I think that they're not for everybody. For the first-time homebuyer that's buying a house and they don't know how long that they're going to live there, I don't know if I would recommend it for that individual, and maybe if they're putting only a little bit down. But for somebody that has a large down payment, they know that they're not going to be there for long. Like, look, this is the 5th house that I bought. I'm only buying this house for 2 years till my kids are out of school and I'm leaving. Sure, you might want to consider an adjustable rate.
So with going back to that story we started with the first time ever, more Americans say it's a bad time to buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're right or wrong, irrelevant. That's what they think right now, and they don't have Shelby in their life. So is now a great time to be a landlord because more and more people are going to rent?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me use that as the setup for this with Jennifer. I know you think it's always a great time to be a landlord, but in this market, there's going to be a lot of people going, oh, I'm going to wait. Jennifer says, my mom inherited a house that's paid off and worth around $430,000. She rented it for a while but had bad renters, and now she's debating if she should just sell the home. It was built in the 50s, and while it's been maintained and updated over the years, the last update was probably 15 years ago, and it's starting to need a ton of work. AC went out, bathroom and kitchen need to be remodeled. She's not sure if she would be best to sell it and buy another property that's easier to maintain and rent, or put the money into remodeling this one and raise the rent. She's not super thrilled to go through a remodel, but not completely sold on selling yet. At least either way, she's going to remain a landlord. But
Yeah.
what do you think of that one?
Well, when you're looking into remodeling a rental property, again, you have to look at it in terms of your return on investment. So if you're going to spend $50,000 or $100,000, you're only going to raise your rent by $400. It's probably not going to work out that well. So you have to analyze each one and calculate your return on that investment.
So she might be better off to sell it, get a newer, easier to maintain rental property, and just turn that into cash flow.
Yeah, and even when you're looking to sell, you have to calculate the return on investment. If I'm going to put $100,000 into this house, you better be able to sell it for more than $100,000, more in price. Otherwise, it's not worth the time and energy to do it.
Phone number is 888-989-9811. Hi, Janice.
Hi, Rob. So I have a question for Shelby. We are in the process of relocating. I currently live in Lodi, California. We bought our second home a little over 2 years ago, and now we're relocating to San Diego. When we bought the house for $480. We are in contract for $649, so we're going to be making some money. And I think we should buy right away. And my husband thinks we should wait because he thinks that the market is going to crash. And then we'll be upside down in a home that costs us over $700,000 in San Diego.
So you have to decide who's right, husband or wife.
I love it.
We get these all the time.
I do not think that the market is going to crash. That's for sure. And you have to find what is the value of owning a home, to you. If you guys are, you don't have any kids and the only value to owning is from an investment standpoint, then sure, you can afford to just sit on the sidelines and see what happens, right? You just sit on the sidelines, see what happens. Who knows? We don't know what rates are going to do. Rates could go up to 12, 13, 14%. We don't know. No one knows. So that's the risk that you're going to take, is that you might actually be permanently put out of the market. Right now we have a housing shortage. There's not enough supply to fill the amount of demand for homes. So until we solve that issue, the home prices are going to still stay, relatively high.
So just to pile on the husband just a little bit more. When she says, he says, oh, we're going to have a home that we bought in San Diego for $700,000. It's not worth that. Well, let's say the market doesn't crash, but it stagnates, maybe even goes down. So what? How do you answer people who say that? Because I look at them and go, so what? You have a home, and right now today, you paid $700,000 for it. It's worth $650,000. What do you care?
Yeah.
It's not like they're not taking the money back from you or anything. How do you answer that?
Well, because the ideology is they're thinking that, well, I'm going to time it and then I'm going to make money on this. And we already know from every other real estate investor in the world, everyone says, you cannot time the market. You're not going to be able to time it. And most of the time, if I were to listen to everybody that said the market was going to crash, I would have missed out on a lot of equity gains because, they've been saying that for the last 5-7 years for sure. So again, you have to focus on the monthly payment. It seems like, they might be more scared about the payment. Like, man, I'm going to have a $700,000 house. The monthly payment's really high. I would assume that in San Diego, it costs more to own a home than to rent. So they're thinking, well, shoot, we can rent for less, sit on the sidelines, see how it pans out. And that might not be a bad call. But again, you're sitting on the sidelines and you might not be able to re-enter the game. But it is a long-term play. So if you're comfortable with the monthly payment, who cares? Even if it dips a little, it's going to go back up. How long are you going to be living in San Diego? Maybe it's short term. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. If this is your home for at least 10 years, maybe 20, maybe 30, then none of that even, right, none of that even matters. But like you said, are they not there for a very long time?
Last time you were on, a lot of people raised their eyebrows about the purchase from your landlord idea, and they wrote in asking questions. Wait, can he go over that again? How does that work again?
Yeah. So I love this. I've done this many times. Not necessarily me purchasing from my landlord, but going directly to the seller. And that's kind of what the concept is. So I buy a lot of houses from people just by talking about it and saying, oh, I'm looking to purchase a home. Do you know anybody that inherited a home? Do you know anybody that maybe is a hoarder and they're trying to get rid of their home? You find good deals that way. But another one is just buying the home directly from your landlord. So here are the benefits to that. One, you now control the appraiser's perception on that house, right? Because the seller doesn't get the opportunity to be able to remodel it and make it look all nice and prep it for sale. So if you buy it off your landlord, you say, hey, I would love to purchase the home directly off you. Are you interested in selling? Landlord says, I didn't really think about it, but that sounds great. It's easy. Then you tell them, well, look, since we're not paying any realtor fees, are you willing to split that with me? Normally, you'd pay 6% to sell. Instead, you keep 3%. And can you give me 3% towards my closing costs? So now all your closing costs are covered. And again, you only need 3% down as a first-time home buyer. So now you only need to come up with 3% down. Another thing, you already know everything in that house. So you know that house better than anybody, You know what's broken, what's not. Then you can negotiate more repairs on top of that. Then you can also maybe negotiate like a gift of equity, which is really cool. You could do that if you're like family members and things like that, to where they can actually gift you part of the equity to use towards your down payment.
Whoa.
So best case scenario, you pay nothing down, you pay nothing out of pocket, and you negotiate some repairs. I mean,
Jesus,
this
that's
is
a
great.
great position.
This goes back to
be
that
in.
thing of don't be afraid to ask, because you don't know what your landlord's thinking.
Yeah.
They may be thinking, oh, God, I would love to unload that house, but then we're going to have to move them out with curb appeal. The market sucks. And you suddenly call and go, hey, we really like this house. We want to stay here for a while. Would you be interested in selling? They're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love that idea. And pretty soon the ball starts rolling the way you're talking.
Yeah.
We got this email. This came up. First time I've ever heard you talk about this when we were doing our home buyers and sellers seminar a few weeks ago on RADTV. Ryan wrote in and said, my fiance and I are starting to get ready to buy our first home. My father repeatedly tells me that we should only be looking at single family homes, but those are few and far between in our budget. Condos, on the other hand, are in great supply around us. We had this question. What are your thoughts on condos, townhomes, things like that?
Yeah, so condos are great for first-time homebuyers because it allows you to get in at a more affordable price. We're going to see that a lot more often. People are going to be going back to condos because of the affordability issues. But you have to know that a condo does not appreciate as well as a single-family home. So, maybe what I would look into is buying a multi-unit property. You can use the rents to help you qualify. So if you buy a duplex, you can live in one side. If the other side's rented out for $2,000 a month, the bank will actually allow you to use that $2,000 a month to help you qualify for the mortgage. And then you can use that as a future rental property. And those have really good returns, and they do appreciate great.
So if you're a first-time home buyer and you go out and try to buy a duplex, do you still only have to put 3% down, or since you're also renting it out, does that count as a business as well? So you'd have to pay more of a down payment?
That's a great question. So you actually can buy up to a fourplex and only put 3.5% down
Really?
on an FHA loan.
Oh, okay.
And you can use all of the other 3 units of a fourplex to help you qualify. So don't be intimidated if the fourplex costs $700,000. Look at the rents. If each one rents out for $2,100, that's going to pretty much make your whole payment.
And the other thing you mentioned, too, during the seminar is a lot of people don't think about or look closely enough at the HOA fees that come with a lot of condos,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
which can go up exponentially
Yeah.
and out of nowhere. And then suddenly you thought this is what you were paying every month or every quarter for your HOAs, and those can surprise you, too, as opposed to owning a home or something else where you have more control.
Yep.
And your duplex idea or your fourplex idea, if you can do a VA loan, you can do that with nothing down, right?
Yep. That anybody that's going to qualify for a VA loan, you have to listen up. So this is golden information. If you're buying your first home on a VA mortgage, you should always try to buy a fourplex. You can buy that with no money down. You can increase the rate if you wanted to get a credit. We talked about buying the rate down. You could also go the other way and increase the rate and get a credit towards your closing costs. So you can buy with no money down, no closing costs, and you can buy up to 4 units and have no monthly mortgage insurance. So your monthly payment is really low too. Then you live there for a year, you move out of that property, and that property 9 times out of 10 will cash flow a good amount over the mortgage. So then you can use that cash flow to help you buy the next property. It's pretty much going to pay that mortgage, and then you can just continue along and build a rental portfolio.
When Shelby, it's so true when you said what was true for me when you said it like a condo is a good, maybe for some people, first time, because I was such a scaredy cat. It was almost like, well, I'm still kind of in an apartment because the HOA will take care of roof and paint, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was fully responsible for the house, but those HOAs they kept. So it was like a kind of stick my toe in type of thing. If somebody out there's a scaredy cat, I don't know if I would have done that again just because of like the HOAs just kept going up. I mean, they just kept going up and
Faster than the rate of rent.
on it. Yeah,
And the cost of things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, Erica. Go ahead.
Hi, anybody.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi, I've got a question for Shelby. My husband and I are currently homeowners, and right now we're waiting to establish job history so we can buy our next house for our family. And we'd like to rent out the house we currently have, and we have about $250,000 in equity built up. We're just wondering, because we want to use that as a down payment for the next house, would it be a good idea with interest rates going up to pull that money out now and just hold on to it until we're ready to purchase, or just wait, for another year?
And you're planning on keeping that property, right?
Yes, we would like to rent it out.
perfect. Yeah. So I would refinance that property right away. That way you can lock in an lower interest rate, have the money sitting on the sidelines, and then when you're ready to purchase, you'll be ready to go. But that's a great idea. Is how you want to analyze that is how much cash do you need to pull out of this property to still have an affordable mortgage payment so you can cash flow the rent. So your rent is actually more than your mortgage payment, but it'll give you enough cash to be able to put down on the next house.
Hello, Martine. Go ahead.
Hey, Shelby, I know I've called you guys multiple times talking to you about this. Trying to do a cash out refi. I've talked to my mortgage officer, and she keeps telling me, wait. I just want to pay off my cars and my credit cards most of the way, because that'll leave me about almost $2,000 to make the difference in the mortgage. It's going to jump to about $2,100 because it's my interest rate. She said will go up to about 6%. Should I wait, or is like 6% too dang high to sit on?
Well, the tough part is that you're paying off a car loan that's probably only on a 5-year term, and you're going to now have that car loan for 30 years. And that's why it seems like it's paying off. It's going to save you, but it's only providing relief for, a few years, really. So I don't know necessarily if you're really struggling to make those payments and that's your only kind of relief valve, then no, I wouldn't wait. I would try to get locked in now, and then you can always refinance again in the future if it does go down. But, it would really stink if this problem that you have with monthly expenses kind of gets out of hand, and then you miss a payment or something, and then you won't have the opportunity to refinance at all.
And also, and just the peace of mind of not having the night sweats over your payments and stuff.
Yeah.
We recently, you teamed up with Tahoe Blue Vodka, and we recently gave away a weekend at Emerald Bay Village, which is your newly, you purchased it, you upgraded it, you redid. Tell us about Emerald Bay Village.
Yeah, so it's a hospitality property, a boutique hotel. It has 6 cabins.
That's awesome.
It's located by the Y in South Lake Tahoe. So phenomenal location.
Yeah.
It's on Emerald Bay Road, really close to, what is that, Chambers or the Beacon?
Yeah,
the
really
Beacon.
great, that great beach right there.
Love the Beacon.
Yeah.
God.
They have those rum runners
Yep.
and yeah.
They've been famous for their rum runners since we were there in 1990.
Oh my
Yeah.
And I mean, what's worse than sitting on right there on the beach on Lake Tahoe on a gorgeous day? And you can walk to the Beacon from where you are.
You could definitely ride bikes. So there's 6 cabins, so it caters really well to people that maybe are a large party, because you can rent all the cabins out.
But you don't have to, right?
You don't have to. Yep, you can rent a single room. The single rooms have a king bed. They have full-size bunk beds in each room, so it's great for family.
Oh.
We have 3-bedroom, 2-bath cabins. We have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath cabin, single rooms. It's great.
So it's perfect for almost everybody. It's a romantic getaway, it's a family getaway, it's a large party getaway, depending on availability. Now, how is availability looking? Like, if people are going, oh man, that sounds so great, I don't have to worry about flying, depending on where they are.
Yeah.
How far out are we booking already, do you think?
Only a couple weeks right now is really the slow time in Tahoe, but everyone that like us that have been to Tahoe a lot, we know that these are the best times to go because you can luck out. The traffic's not bad. And the weather is actually really nice right now.
And you can go to emeraldbayvillage.com to check out Shelby's property. We got this email from Ty.
Hey, Ty.
Says, thank you so much, Rad and Shelby, for educating us on the refi process. It's been life-changing for my husband and me. I had no clue this was even an option or something that people did. We had our 3rd baby last year. It cost us a lot. A few weeks ago, we closed on our new loan with $50,000 to pay off having our sweet baby, a knee surgery my husband needs, and hopefully new carpet and flooring for our upstairs. I'm in tears writing this, being able to take a deep breath out from under the pressure of debt. This never would have happened without you guys.
Wow, I love it.
There's that peace of mind.
I love that.
We're looking for. You can follow Shelby online. He's at Shelby Elias, not alias, Elias. That autocorrect gets him every time. Elias.
You get Jennifer Garner.
He's at financeWithShelby.com. Anything else we got to mention here?
Thanks, Queenie.
That's it. I love being on.
Cool.
We love having you.
Thank you so much, Shelby. You can email us, rad@radradio.com. Believe it or not, he will be back.